Hi, Andy XL back with another NFXL podcast, and this is going to be the sixth of my looks at all 32 NFL teams as they come out of the 2025 season in what I'm calling my State of the Franchise addresses. And this one's regarding the Cleveland Browns. So 2025 was another season of disappointment for the long-suffering Browns, with one shining star in Myles Garrett for them to celebrate. But is there hope of any better in 2026? What are the chances of them lifting themselves off the bottom of the AFC North or even making a run for the postseason? On first look, there seems little chance of them doing so, but every road has to start somewhere. So, how do the Browns start down that road? Well, it's not going to be easy. And let's start with the trickiest thing, conundrum of all for the Browns, and has been for ages, quarterback. The Browns may have many issues to resolve, but the quarterback issue remains the source of plenty of those issues. They are saddled with a huge contract they gave to DeShaun Watson for one more season, and having drafted both Shadur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel in last year's draft, given them a shot at being the starter, but in truth, neither looked up to the task. So once again, the Browns have a huge unanswered question regarding who will be their starting quarterback for 2026. Do they give Sanders or Gabriel another shot at showing they can improve and offer the answer the Browns are looking for? Or do they restore Watson post his Achilles injury and hope they get something for all that money? His salary is a large part of the reason they have no cap space to work with. If they do not want to go with any of those already mentioned, then they will either need to find a bargain basement free agent option or go back to the draft again. But this draft class looks pretty poor overall and certainly lacks depth. So this looks like a risky proposition for the Browns. Hobson's choice, I know, but I would give hope Watson is healthy enough to start game one for them and give him another shot, with Sanders or Gabriel being given time to adjust to the NFL behind him. If not, then they should find that cheap free agent option, bridge quarterback for next season. But none of these options seems likely to turn around things around for the Browns in 2026. At running back, more positive news. Quinshon Jobkins was having a strong rookie season until he got hurt in week 14. Dylan Sampson also showed promise as a dual purpose back, whilst veteran Jerome Ford offers a solid, experienced presence at running back. With Judkins back, this is one position the Browns can leave alone this offseason. Wide receiver? Despite ranking 15th in the league for pass attempts made, the Browns ranked 31st in the league for pass offense. So they passed plenty but didn't have much joy doing so. Part of that is down to poor quarterback play, but they also looked deficient at wide receiver. Sherry Jurdy led the wide receiver corps with just 602 receiving yards and a pair of touchdowns, but that is hardly what you need from a wide receiver one. That's more wide receiver three numbers. Jurdy has only 1,000-yard season in his 6 years in the NFL, and in truth, he's more of a solid wide receiver two at best than a wide receiver one. Rookie speedster Isaiah Bond developed into a nice deep threat option as the season progressed, but outside of those, only Cedric Tillman made any contribution, and that was pretty minimal. So the Browns badly need to add to this core. A true wide receiver one and a slot receiver are real needs if any quarterback is to succeed for the Browns. At tight end, with David Njoku being a free agent this offseason, the Browns have the option to let him leave following the strong rookie season Harold Fanning had. He led the Browns in receiving yardage and touchdowns, bettering Jurdy's numbers with 744 scrimmage yards and 7 touchdowns. In the event Njoku does leave via free agency, I could see the Browns looking to add a veteran backup for Fanning at low cost, somebody like Austin Hooper, for instance. On the offensive line, with Judkins averaging just 3.6 yards per carry and the Browns quarterbacks being sacked 51 times in 2025, this O line clearly needs to improve. All three starting interior O linemen and left tackle Cam Robinson are free agents this offseason, whilst right tackle Jack Conklin was decent in the run game, but poor in pass protection. Now, at this point, I'm going to try and remind myself um, what cap space they've got. So just bear with me while I look that up. Should have done this before I started, shouldn't I? Uh, let's see what over the cap say about the Cleveland Browns cap position. Right, very minimal, 3 million basically, so almost nothing to work with. So an argument, so when we're looking at the O line, an argument could be made for installing an entirely new O line for 2026, but without that cap space, how are they going to do that? Joel Bitonio did perform well last season, so bringing him back on a short-term deal at low cost could be sought by the Browns. Centre Ethan Posich was mid-ranked for centres by PFF, so is another they could bring back. Cam Robinson had a poor season though, and Wyatt Teller was poor in pass protection. If they let Robinson and Teller go and replace them via the draft, that would help the Browns' cap position a little at little potential cost in terms of performance. Whatever the Browns do, their offense is not going to thrive unless they get a half decent O line in place for next season. Defensive tackle we look at now. The Browns were much better defensively than offensively last season, and they were pretty decent against the run too, ranking 14th in the league. Rookie Mason Graham was excellent. Malik Collins also had a good season, and Shelby Harris was decent in support of them too. He's a free agent though. Then if they can get him back, they will. But like I say, that cap space may not allow them to do that. Apart from that, there's no need to do anything here for the Browns. On the edge, Miles Garrett's record-breaking season speaks for itself. Alex Wright did offer some support, but considering how teams doubled up on Garrett all last season, his 5.5 sacks wasn't a great return. With the Browns ranking ninth against the pass last season, Garrett's presence was a significant factor in that. But if they could draft somebody to take some attention away from him, that could make them even better in this regard next season. And it looks like a good class to draft from. So you could even get a really good one on day two or early day three. And the Browns do have picks 6, 24, 39, 70, and 107 at their disposal. So they've got plenty of draft picks to use if they haven't got a lot of cap space. Inside linebacker, Devin Bush and rookie Carson Swessinger were ranked 4th and 21st for linebackers by PFF for their effort last season. And they have good depth behind them too. So this is a position of no need really for the Browns this offseason. At safety, Ronnie Hickman and to a lesser extent Grant Delpit performed with a lot of credit in 2025. Hickman's now a restricted free agent and is one the Browns need to find cap space to tie up longer term. Assuming they do so, they will be set at safety for next season. What about a cornerback? As I said earlier, the Browns were ranked ninth against the pass, but were third in terms of teams attempting passing against them, as teams prefer to do that and try and run the ball against the Browns' stout D line. So the secondary actually held up pretty well considering how much work they had to do. Tyson Campbell emerged with credit. Denzel Ward did okay. Martin Emerson missed the whole season with an Achilles injury, though, and is now a free agent. If Emerson is over that injury, he will need re-signing. And if the Browns do that, he, Campbell, and Ward will likely prevent them needing to do any more at cornerback this off-season. Let's look at their special teamers. The Browns are another team whose kicker, punter, and long snapper are all free agents this off-season. Assuming long snapper Rex Sinahara is back on a new deal, that leaves the boot men to worry about, as it were. Punter Corey Bejorquez had a poor season, so the Browns could well look for a replacement via the draft. Andre Smith made 49 of 53 kicks in 2025. That could be enough to get him back for another season. So, in summary, the Browns' defense is actually not in need of much attention. Re signing Hickman and Emerson and adding an edge rush partner for Myles Garrett via the draft are the ones they need to tick off here. On offense, there's plenty to do, though. They need to find a decent level of quarterback play from somewhere, whether that be DeShaun Watson, one of the rookies, stepping up big style, or getting in a bridge quarterback veteran. Something needs to be done there. They need to fix the O line with at least two additions, probably three. They need to add two wide receivers, a high level guy and a slot receiver, add a veteran backup at tight end. So 7 or 8 players needed and no cap space to work with. So they have to get each of those 5 draft picks in the first 07 of the first 107 of the 2026 draft. If there is a must for their long-term development. Even if they do that, the cloud over the quarterback seat position seems likely to cast a shadow over their 2026 prospects, though. If they could find some light from that position and they sort the O-line and wide receiver core out, then the Browns' defense is good enough to make them competitive in the AFC North. Baltimore will have a new coaching regime, as will Pittsburgh. Derrick Henry's getting older in Baltimore by the year. How long can he keep producing the extraordinary performances he does? Like I said, Pittsburgh are making coaching changes, also have quarterback issues to resolve, while Cincy never seems to sort out their defense and be able to keep Joe Burrow safe. So it's possible none of these teams improve much, if at all, next season, making this a division where a little improvement could go a long way. If the Browns can find such improvement, there is a glimmer of hope for next season, but I still think that until they offload DeShaun Watson and his salary in 2027, they are unlikely to be a factor in the AFC North next season. So, sorry, Browns fans, I don't see much joy for you next season, but there is room for improvement there. So, maybe some light at the end of the tunnel. Right, that's them done with the Cleveland Browns. Next up on my list is who's got the seventh pick? The Washington Commanders. I'll come back and look at them next. Take care.